closely with a global company. They are actually Swiss-based called SeedStars. They operate in 80 markets in the world. They are an incubator in the tech field. So no matter where you live, I highly recommend you to get connected to their community and just use the tools that there are to explore whether your idea is right, get input, and tap into this whole community. And for those interested more in social entrepreneurship, Ashoka is an amazing global organization that really supports social entrepreneurs that want to build a startup around a particular social cause. And lastly, I was at 500 startups in Silicon Valley. They have a huge office in San Francisco, and they take on, for example, startups that generate at least $10,000 of revenue a month. And the way accelerators work is that they put you through a program, it can be 4 or 5 months. They take some equity, and they have mentors, they have entrepreneurs in residence, they call them, who have already built businesses and scaled businesses, and they put you on the right track. They give you input, they mentor you, with the objective to exit, which means with the objective that you'll be building this business for the next 5 or 6 years, but then you will actually sell it, and by you selling it, they will make a lot of money. 500 startups, as an example, said no to Uber, which is one of the biggest regrets you can imagine. I mentioned earlier that we believe many of the new startups are based on new ideas. Investors, they're a little bit more critical. So Uber actually had very serious issues raising money at the beginning because people said, well, it's just too new, it's just too crazy, it ain't gonna work. Well, they've proven all of us wrong, but just an example of a slightly regret by 500 startups. So here's a slight overview, and you'll have this presentation. I think there's often a bit of a confusion between accelerators and incubators. And incubators are really therefore to support you at the early stages, to give you some input. Your idea doesn't have to be as refined. You're just starting maybe to generate some revenue, so they help you incubate the idea, as the name says. Whereas accelerators, like I just mentioned, they want already to see a viable business, a minimum viable product, some revenues coming in, and they really want to take you to the next level so that you can develop your business and grow for exit. One of the things that Andrea at 500 Startups, he's a partner there, mentioned when I was asking, well, tell me, but Europe, Silicon Valley, what are the main differences? What is the investor's appetite? And one of the things he said was that the risk appetite in the US is much higher than in Europe in terms of investors, because the ecosystem in Silicon Valley itself is something that drives entrepreneurship, drives the startups. You have a lot of support there. However, at the same time, don't estimate that if you take your startup to Silicon Valley, it's going to be a free ride and you'll come out as a millionaire, because it's an incredibly competitive market. Still, investors choose for good ideas, for highest returns, and therefore it is a very tough environment to be in, despite all the successes. There are a couple of toolkits that I personally recommend you if you really wanted to just try, and they're basically for free. Because people say, well, for me to get started, I do need at least, whatever, 10,000 euros or 5,000 euros. I completely disagree, because that's not the case. Today, the world has so many free tools that are out there. Google Suite is amazing with all the documents. I mean, some of the bigger companies use those tools to share files and documents to make processes happen. There's also, it's very easy today to set up a website. You can download a website theme of Iwata Forest, for example. You pay $100 for hosting, and you put up your website. And I think all of you can do that, trust me. And that will cost you $50. You have to write a copy of the website and select some images, and you use WordPress, for example. But also freelancers, as I've mentioned. Check on SEO. SEO, if you've taken digital marketing so far, stands for search engine optimization. It costs you nothing. You identify which keywords you want to be found for on the web, and you make sure you put them in the text and the descriptions that you write on your website. And There's loads of ways to manage social media in general. There's a platform called Hootsuite. You sit down for an hour and then you schedule everything you want to post for the following week, and you don't have to worry about it. And if you make it SEO optimized, then Google will start recognizing you and people will come to your website. So there are loads of different tools, and last one actually, Eventbrite. Anybody used it before? I think it's quite popular, yeah. So you can visit events, but it overcomes a major challenge that your website will not have at the beginning, which is a payment system, and you can link it to a PayPal account, and you actually can even start very easy, quickly collecting some little money if you host an event with your particular idea and to put that through it. So it's easier to get started than I think people believe, and it's less costly to get started than people believe. If you want to scale, that's a very different conversation depending on your business. But certainly, just to try it out, the tools are there. So what are the most entrepreneurial cities in Europe? London is massive, but also Germany, Berlin, Paris, Amsterdam, etc. So these are the startup cities of Europe. And there are a couple of secrets why, and that goes back to the ecosystem. Something that's happening in London, for example, if you invest into a startup, that's tax deductible. So that means I can either pay a tax bill or I can put a little bit for the startup and deduct that, and that obviously fosters. Germany have also many years ago set up a very easy way to set up a company that's for Berlin, and also the positioning of the city. So the governments are involved in the cities in general in order to foster entrepreneurship, and you might want to think about that. And when it comes to Silicon Valley, and this is sort of the index, I decided to show you that is used to say what are the startup cities of the world. And it's how many startups they've put out. Funding is very high on the list, of course. How does it perform? What's the talent pool? And one thing that I have learned when I was in Silicon Valley is that when it comes to scaling startups, when it comes to, okay, I have a business with, let's say, 100,000 users, and now I want to scale it within the next 2 years to 3 million users. The expertise of how to do that in terms of infrastructure, business strategy, we don't have much of that here in Europe. A lot of that is in the US and the Silicon Valley because they've done it so many times. They have experts who know how to scale businesses, and people try to secure such support for their organizations. So we've been already talking a little bit about money. There are I call them fools, family friends, who are the first people you go to. You say, hey, I have a great idea, would you be able to? And then, of course, there's angel investors, there's crowdfunding platforms, venture capitalists, and there's something that I very much like. It's called a cash-positive business model, because you might want to be creative on that side as well. I'm not going to go through detail because that's more for your reference, but when you're really starting, the most important is you have to actually have something to show to investors. You cannot just walk up and say, well, this is an idea, but I haven't done anything. So you need to be willing to commit financially, and it's very hard to convince an investor who has never met you if you haven't even managed to convince some of your friends or your parents or your uncles, aunts to put a little bit of money into your startup. So this is the first point of contact for you in order to get something on the ground. The second then is the business angels, depending on the countries, but they work sort of around 300,000, and they really want to, they're your early investors, they want your business to scale and support you in the growth. So you can also expect much more mentoring from investors, from business angels, and for instance from venture capitalists. There are crowdfunding platforms. Anybody did anything ever on Kickstarter, for example, which is one of the bigger ones, supported a startup? It's amazing if you go, just Kickstarter, you'll see so many amazing ideas that are floating around. It works very good for products, less for services, because people can then secure the product that you're offering. And the last ones, the sharks, are the venture capitalists who put a lot of pressure on your business and expect returns, and that's very much financial targets driven. They play in big numbers, but they invest for money, and they want an exit. They want to make loads of money by investing into your startup, because eventually somebody else will buy it off. And I've mentioned cash-positive business models. This is really thinking about how can you turn it around so that your customers start paying you early and more in services again than in products, so that you can use that cash to build whatever you're trying to build. And we're coming to an end in terms of two more things, risks and then the exit. It's managing for risks. Of course, startups have more risks than taking a corporate career, no two ways about that. And how do you manage those risks? You have to listen to the market, you have to listen to your clients. If they say they don't like you, you'll be out of the market very, very fast. Make sure that when it comes to legal documentation, which is specifically at the moment when you're raising capital, becomes an element that you really understand what you're getting into. And there are also many stories to be found where people have worked in these amazing virtual reality classes, concept for 6 months, and then 3 months before they were ready to launch, somebody else launched it and the market is gone, kind of thing. Perfection is not necessarily the best in order to get your minimum viable product again out there. So make sure you don't miss it. A business angel, I was at a boot camp, said, you know, we graduated with an MBA from a top school and they had this amazing startup idea, and 1 month after graduation they had already secured £60,000 of funding. And I said, cool, we have the idea, we have the money, let's go do it. And he said that's the worst thing that ever happened to him, because they spent that money immediately, not very wisely, and basically conclusion is money makes you stupid. Because if you actually don't have enough funds, you have to come up with creative ideas. You won't choose the provider that offers you the most amazing website for 20,000. You'll actually work with somebody who can help you do it for 2,000, for example. So money can be very helpful, but it can also destroy. And so they've crashed that business idea that they've had, and then they had to come back up and be much more creative, and now it's a very successful startup in France, operating out of Paris. But they had to go through this learning curve of what money can do. And the exit. So what does the exit mean? The exit is really building a business in order to sell it to somebody. A great exit story, we've just seen it at the beginning, was the $1 Shave Club. Those guys built it. They knew exactly what they were doing. They built it to take market share. They had over 2 million subscribers, and Gillette and other companies that work in the space of men's shaving weren't very happy because somebody was stealing their market share. Therefore, you build your business, you build up the financials, you structure the whole development of the company with the objective to exit. Venture capitalists like it, and that's the fastest way of getting rich if you get lucky. And many companies throughout decades have been building specifically to sell then to Microsoft because they had some IP, of course. But you have to decide early on, because there's nothing wrong with also having, which is the other opposite to exit, a lifestyle business. This is a business that can have as many employees as you want, 50, 100 employees, and you're employed by it, and that generates your living, your salary, and you take out the profits, and you might raise a little bit of cash. But it is something that you do simply to run your own businesses. And you can choose, but you have to change your strategies depending on what you're trying to achieve. I wanted to show you this business model canvas, which I think is an amazing tool before we wrap up, to again just quickly jot down what's this idea I have had in my mind about building a startup, what should it do? It's been developed by somebody in Switzerland, he's the co-founder of Strategizer.com, and it's simplified as a business plan can get on an A4 page, don't make it longer, about your value proposition, who are you going to target, what are going to be your costs, how are you going to make money, who do you need to support you in terms of partners, what is it that you're going to do and what do you need to do. So a very easy way for anybody to jot down. And this is an example, I put that together during one of the boot camps that I've participated in. This is a document that it's called a pitch deck. You would send that, for example, before presenting to somebody in order to get invited to present to business angels. And again, it quickly gives an idea to a potential investor about what's your company about, what's the market potential, how you're going to make money, what's going to make you different, who you're going to target, how you're going to get the target, how you're going to secure your customers, but also who's the team, right? Because Investors care a lot about the people in front of them. If they think you're full of bullshit, they're not going to give you money. So they have to feel that you have a solid team, you know your strengths, but you're also humble, you know your weaknesses. They do not appreciate somebody going and saying, I have the perfect idea and I'm going to take over the world. They appreciate people who are grounded and real. So this is just, again, I will put that together in 24 hours, so just to give you an idea of what can be achieved in a very short time if you have a very vague idea, and also it helps you quickly say, is this actually something that is going to work, or there's just not enough substance to it, but then you can sleep peacefully at night because you don't carry around the idea for a whole year with you. If you feel like getting started on startups, of course, you have first to commit to what it's like to be an entrepreneur. Find people who want to work with you together, agree on what you're going to do, build your business model, see whether your business model has some potential, build your minimum viable product, and then gain some traction. And then you can go into funding and all the other aspects of entrepreneurship. But this is just a couple of first steps if you wanted to get started. So the world of entrepreneurship can be very, very exciting if you exit at $1 billion and make you rich and give you loads of experiences. It can also be very challenging when things are tough and you don't have enough cash or your customers are not signing up like you should. But it's definitely full of adventures. And if you want to get a little bit more before you decide whether you want to commit to entrepreneurship, this is just a couple of books you can read up in your free time on the weekends to get a feel for it. But then it's up to you to decide, is this an adventure that you'd be interested in and would like to explore? Even if you do it just for 1 year, it'll be a lifetime experience. So I hope you've enjoyed this little presentation, and I look forward to all your questions.
Any questions?
No, you've written loads.
What are the most common mistakes and misconceptions of starting a startup?
Of starting a startup. So I think one, that to actually just get started on the minimum level, as I've just mentioned, that people think I do need whatever, hundreds of thousands to get off the ground. This is just really not true. Maybe several years ago or decades ago, yes, but to today's world, the technology allows you. Another one, misunderstanding what your customers, who your customers are and what they actually want. So a product that you believe is going to fly and will be amazing may not be something people are willing to buy and pay money for.
How do you know?
Design thinking. You create something very, very minimalistic and you put it out there to, if you're saying you want to do something in, I don't know, Japan, for example. You collect focus groups and you let people experiment, explore, test it out, you collect feedback from them. You can do loads of, so there are different research techniques that you can apply in order to gain customer insights and understand what it is that they want.
Right, but doesn't this go back to the funding problem? I don't have money to even start. How am I going to pay the groups?
You can always start with your friends and the people you know around you. So if you have something, just get a few random people, get their friends to invite and just say, hey, I'm sponsoring beers tonight, but in order to get the free beers, you have to play with this tool or whatever that is. Because the people around you are the first ones you can collect some initial feedback from. So there's a big misconception around money that, when I said money makes you stupid, sorry, and then I think people think that money will make my life easy in a startup environment. It depends how you use that money, absolutely. If you're raising capital and you know you're going to put it in the product development and you're going to put it into a marketing campaign that will increase your user base, that's good use of money. But if you just don't know, you have money and you don't know what to do with it,
right.
That might be
okay, thank you.
How important is to create a name for a startup, you know, like the official name of the whole thing? Is it like something very important to create like a...
My husband teases me always. He says, have you seen Facebook version 1? Google it, it's appalling. So in the beginning, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you want something, you want some sort of identity, and you can work up a logo very quickly yourself on PowerPoint, a quick name, trust that it's going to probably change, but something that you can relate to a website and maybe to a business card so that you're professional. But don't imagine that is set in stone, you can change that in the future.
So that's not like a big deal when
If you spend 1 month thinking about your name and 3 days thinking about your product, I'd be worried. Okay? The names often come up, somebody says, oh, we went for dinner, we had some wine and I saw this, and we decided, oh, let's call it this. The BlaBlaCar, the reason why they called it BlaBlaCar is because they wanted people to, to chat when they drive. And so you can actually, when you have a user profile on BlaBlaCar, you can say whether you're blah, whether you're blah blah, or blah blah blah. So, there are funny stories like that. It's nice to have an anecdote, but it's certainly not what you should worry about most.
What places have you lived and where have you heard from?
So I was born in Ukraine. I then grew up in Germany, in Bavaria, and did my Abitur there. I've studied then in Switzerland, moved to London for my first job, and then came back to Switzerland. So I live in Zurich at the moment, and I have always had global roles, both within my own startup, which was international, and corporate, and I've worked in like 25 different countries. Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about your startup?
Yeah, so I have, as already mentioned, I've worked in the education sector, and I've spent lots of time at fairs, events, talking to young people, 16, 17, 18-year-old, who kind of think about what is it that I want to do in life, and where do I want to go, what do I want to study, what career can I do, and mostly we choose careers that either our parents have, or kind of we go for lawyers and doctors. And I wanted to create a platform for young people actually to do professional orientation, so to understand what are their own strengths and what are the opportunities out there. So we work with big organizations such as Accenture, United Nations, World Economic Forum, and many others, in order to give the opportunity sort of mini internships where you get to a day kind of thing, where you get exposed to the different careers, but also we do coaching with you. So I'm a certified coach. What sort of the services that Geraldine provides and her team in terms of careers development, and then we match those two and help you find your way through the world of careers and jobs and all the opportunities at an international level, however. So we really work at an international level. Yes.
What was actually your point when you said you had a corporate career as well, where you said, okay, I've done all this with corporate stuff and I want to start something?
I really have a dream to just try myself as an entrepreneur. I've always had that. I was saying back then, well, I still need, to get some more experience and have some more capital, so I'm going to do it once I'm in my 40s. But then I realized, actually, I feel I see a potential for an idea. There's a customer pain point, and I feel I have the expertise and the network in order to get it solved. So it was really dream-driven, if I may say so, that I had this aspiration for myself. However, and the advice that I would give to anybody, I didn't quit my day job until I knew I can pay my living from a startup. So it was intense, but I was working, and I didn't have to think about monthly incomes, and I could focus on my startup the evenings and the weekends. And once I saw the traction, and I felt, okay, there is certain security, of course it's still risky, but there is traction, it's enough for me. It was a tipping point enough for me to swap over. That's when I resigned from my job and said, now I'm doing that. But don't quit your day job too early, because not only will you worry about getting your startup off the ground, but also how you're going to pay your own bill for your rent or your dinner next time. So many people choose that same track to have security as well. I see there's a long list of questions. Shall I just...
there?
Yeah, I just want to ask, when you mentioned that you're a coach as well, are there many people who you're coaching that do not want to get out of their shell and do not take your suggestions of improvement?
So the interesting part about coaching is that a good coach, well, certified coach, doesn't actually give you suggestions. It's you yourself who has to work out what the right solution is for you. It's very different from mentoring, which I also do, of course. I mentor people specifically in the startup area, in fact, in social startups. This is where I come in and I actually give advice, and it's for them to decide. But the coaching process is something where the coach has to have the skill of asking the right questions so that you yourself kind of speak out loud and come to the right conclusions yourselves. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if a coach tells you what to do, it's not quite coaching, it's more mentoring. Yeah.
Which of the, because you showed the 4 strategies, which of the strategies for you?
I forgot, so I have not gone out to raise any capital because I never wanted to build a business for exit. It's a cause and a passion for me, and although I could, and I know that there will be people interested or companies interested in purchasing mainly that know-how specifically, but because of this ambition, I prefer to have full control of what I do with the business myself. Because the second you raise capital, you give away equity, and people gain control over your company. So I was very selfish. Yes, there was another question. Yeah.
What is just one element of a successful startup? Like just one that tops them all?
That tops them all.
In your opinion, of course.
I think it's having a good idea. Because if you don't have something that people are willing to buy, you're not going to have a revenue stream and you're not going to have a company. The rest comes with it, right? You cannot, if you have a good idea but you don't have the skills, people are still not going to buy it because although your idea is good, but your execution may be not so great, so they won't buy your product. So you have to have the right thing. However, as I've mentioned, and I want to emphasize that it doesn't have to be the next Zuckerberg idea. It doesn't have to be Facebook. It can be something you've seen on your holidays in Sweden that you're then going to go and bring to the Japanese market.
Thank you.
How many people do you employ?
We have a team of 5 people full-time, and then we also work with freelancers. I follow my own advices, so you don't have too much of a fixed headcount at the beginning when you start, just to keep the risks low. And also specifically with coaches, that's normal because they work with many other people.
Last question? Yeah.
When you book these freelancers, how do you actually, working in a team also depend on trust? How do you, are you able to trust these people that they do what they're supposed to do?
It's a very good question, and you can't really, because, well, just like that, it's very difficult, because although there is, on Upwork, you can see the profile. So, like, you have the star ratings of people who have already received work from that particular freelancer. You can see their comments and how many stars they have given to this person, whether he or she executed the work well. So this is one element, and then there's another one where they actually take some courses and certifications through Upwork directly, where you can see they have passed certain technical skills. However, my methodology is actually, because Upwork is really not expensive to start with, you would choose a task, a bigger task that you may then want to outsource to the person you trust, and you will give the subtask of, let's say, $20 to 3 different people, and then you get back what they've done. You evaluate the one you like most, but then you give the rest of this particular assignment to the person that you really like. So it's a little bit of a experiment game. Just keep it, when you're experimenting, just keep it low in terms of the scope and the price, because then you're not so upset if you basically account for that risk that you lose $40, but then you know you will have the right person that you trust who will do the job. And the freelancers, as I said, you can try yourself as a freelancer on the other side. They also have a reputation to lose, if I may say so. You have a reputation on the web, so equally they're interested in getting a good rating from your site. But still, there's no 100% control as in the real world.